guys, and welcome back to Amakadal online training. It's been quite a while, but today I had always said we've done a pattern drafting of the kaftan dress. Some people make it like agbada, with the double pleats on the shoulder, right? I had done that using pattern drafting methods, to show you how to create it using the pattern drafting methods. And I had also said I was going to do one using a freehand cutting method for people that would prefer the freehand cutting. But this time around I took a liberty to make a sketch and just tweak the design a bit, because this time around I'm making it to wear with the trousers. So it's not a kaftan like to the floor. It's actually going to be looking like this is a men wear it anyway, like they wear with trousers these days. I've seen it of recent, and so this is also going to look just like that. My name is Nita and I am your physical and online instructor. Okay, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Show me some love and follow me, and for those that have, I'm so very grateful. All right, thank you for the love you show me. Thank you for the support. I'm grateful. We are 2K. It's been a long time, but I think I'll do better than I have, and I'm very grateful. Okay, so now moving on. This is what we're going to be creating. Okay, so normally I try to sketch out what I want to do and then work on it. I hope you can see that. Okay, fine. Now this is going to be what we are making, right? It's still a kaftan with the double pleats, but like I said, I'm wearing it with trousers. All right, so where we're having the double pleat on the other side, I'm going to be having, this is going to be a plain fabric. All this is going to be plain. I'm using black, and then I'm going to drop the ankara. You're seeing there on the table, the green one will come, the two pleats will come in form of the ankara. One leg of the trousers will be the ankara, and one leg of this will be the black. I may decide to use the two depending on if my fabric is enough or not, as the trousers. So this is basically what I'm going to be drafting with you now. All right, so let's get into our, not drafting, rather cutting. It's going to be like a freehand cutting. But I mean, it's one and the same thing. Okay, so let's get right into it. All right, so these are the tools we're going to be working with. All right, so I have my tape here with me. Okay, so you need that. I have my chalk. Basically, that's what we need. I have my rulers, and then these are the fabric. Please don't forget your scissors. It's very important, and your pins. Okay, so I'm going to be combining these two fabrics to create the design that I have just shown you. So let's get started with the top. Okay guys, so I'm starting with the black fabric. So what I've done is, this is the whole fabric. I'm folding it over into two, right? So this is 2 yards of fabric. You can use more, but I think 2 yards is just perfectly fine. Okay, so I folded it over like this into two, right? And so that's it. And then I'm going to fold it over this way. But when I'm folding over this way, remember I said that one side of it, okay, so like I had said earlier, on one side is going to be plain, the whole fabric, but this side I'm going to take out a part of it to make it ankara. So we're going to calculate it. This pleats, I'm going to use 10 inches. You can use more, it depends on, so I'm going to be using 5 inches per pleat, which is 2.5 and 2.5. You can actually use more. The more pleated, the more wide look you want on this pleat. On this pleat, the more you widen it. Okay, so I'm just doing 10 inches for these two pleats. Please just follow this video as slowly as you can. It's really very nice and easy, but you need to watch it, rewind, watch again. So when I'm coming to this side, I'm going to be having more You know, when you're taking a measurement for this, you take from the back of your neck. Okay, so when you're taking the measurements for this kaftan, all right, or agbada, or whatever you want to call it, okay, so we want to get the length of the measurement you want. I'm trying to remember what the guys, I'm making it in form of a particular outfit. When I remember, I'll let you know, okay. So now you can start your measurement from the center of your neck here, or you can start the measurement from whatever length, the sleeve length you want that your kaftan or agbada to be. So if I'm doing it all round, I can say, okay, I want it to come from here where she has her initial sleeve to the other sleeve. If you take the measurement this way, you're going to have to divide it by 2. So most times I don't bother, I just do a one-sided measurement, okay. So I start from the center of the neck, run it here, and then stop where I want, you know, that outfit to stop. So in my case, I think I'm working with 15 inches because I don't really want it to be, that's the same width that is going to go for the body. All right, so how wide you want it to be is how elongated this measurement is going to be. Do you understand? Okay, anyway, just watch the video over and over again. So that's the measurement I'm going to. So in my own case, I started from here and I'm taking 15 inches. So the measurement for this outfit I'm about making is going to be 15 inches. Okay, so on the side that I'm actually not having the Ankara as part of it, okay, I'm going to be working with 25 inches, okay. So I'm going to take a measurement of that 25 inches from this edge. So I want to fold it at the 25 inches. All right, so this is my 25 inches and I'll be folding my fabric over at that point. Mind you, because I'm going to be joining the other part to get the other part that we're having the Ankara, I'm going to have joinings to get my pleats. So that part, the measurement is going to be longer. Okay, you know, some people may ask me, so how did you come about this 25 inches? I've calculated, that's how I came about it. I'm trying to make sure this video is not as long as anything, but I'll just explain, okay. So I did a calculation, and from my neckline, like from wherever you're starting your measurement, I'm going to take out 4 inches from the neckline. All right, I'm going to have another 3 inches from where my neckline stops to where the pleat, the first pleat, is going to start. That will be 4 inches, 3 inches rather. From the center of my neck, I'm taking out 4 inches. From the 4 inches point, I'm taking out 3 inches. Now from that 3 inches point, I'm taking out 10 inches for my pleat. And you know, I told you earlier on that I'm using 15 inches as my whole measurement all the way here. All of this is going to be 15 inches. So I've taken out 4, I've another 3, and then 10 inches for my pleats, the 2 pleats I'm doing, and then the remaining is going to be 8 inches that will make up my 15 inches. So that's basically how this is going to go. So just follow it. But on this part, I have to add more because I'm going to have cuts and I'm going to join these fabrics back. So for every cut I'm going to have, I'm going to add half an inch allowance on both sides. And the same thing here at the edge. That's why I'm going to have this more. So for this side, I'm going to be using 25 inches. For this side, I'm going to be using 29 inches. Okay, so I've folded. So now for this top part, I'm having 25 inches. But for the other parts that I'm actually going to be joining the Ankara, I'm going to be using 29 inches. So this is the 25 inches. I'm working on this. So what I'm taking out as my neckline, I'm using 4 inches, okay? So from here, I'll mark 4 inches inwards, all right? And I'm going to be marking down 3.5 inches. The neckline is like a round and a V, so it all depends on, please mark yours the way you've always marked it. And from that place, everything I'm going to have here is going to be about 8 inches, 8 to 9. So I'm taking 8.5. So from here to here, I'm having about 5 inches. Okay. So I will turn this into curve it to create my neckline. Can you see that? And then from here I'm going to have the opening, you know, to this point. I'm not making it like, you can make yours really open. If you want to make it open, you can take 1/4 of an inch, so that by the time you open it, you're going to have 1/2 of an inch. And if you don't want it too open, I'm just marking that place for tutorial sake, right? So that you can see what it's going to be like. Okay, so by this that I have done, I came in 1/4 of an inch. By the time I sew it, I'm going to be having an opening of 1/2 of an inch, 1 inch. So it depends on how open, you know, you want your neckline to be. All right, so I have taken 4 inches because I needed this to be wide. You can take 3.5 as well. You will still wear it comfortably, you know, very comfortably. So even if I choose to take 3.5, by the time I sew it, you know, it's going to be 4. But I don't want it tricky, so I chose to take 4. All right, so after then I'm going to mark where I want my pleat to start from this neckline. You know, I'm taking 3 inches. This is where I want the pleat to start from, 3 inches. You can take less. All these things is your decision. Okay, so this is where I want the pleat to start from. Okay, so from here I'm going to take 10 inches out for my 2 pleats. This is my 10 inches. All right, so let me mark it. So I'm going to use something to explain to you. So I'm taking, this is going to form the pleat I need. You can make your pleat less than this if you want. If you can make it more. So now if I'm taking this, I want to fold it off, so this 10 inches. So I can now take my actual measurement. Remember I told you that I want to use 15 inches as the full, from the neck of my neck to my sleeve. It's going to be 15. So I folded that 10 close, and I can now mark my 15 inches plus 1 inch sewing allowance. I'm going to have 16, so I'm using everything as it is. So that's just basically it. Okay, so now this goes for the part I am not adding anything to. So this part is ready as it is. I just want to arrange it. So this side is ready as is. But this other part, I'm going to be adding another fabric to it. So whatever you marked here, you try to also align it and mark it here, okay? But in this case, when you're marking it, I just did a mark on the inner side. But I'm going to move and add 1/2 an inch as sewing allowance to that part. So where I have this mark is the same part I have marked here, but I'm going to see where I'm placing my tape, right? And I'm adding 1/2 an inch away from me, please, away from me. I'm adding 1/2 an inch. That is going to be my joining allowance, okay, for the 10 inches I want to add to it. So that means when I am cutting, I'm going to be cutting only this off, and I'm going to notch, you know, where my neckline is stopping, which is going to be a guide. All right, so and also please, because we folded it this way, don't cut out your neckline, just make a notch at this point. See what I'm doing? We're not having any cuts at the shoulder. So because of that, I'm just making a notch here. Okay, that will help me know where my center front is. That, because if you cut out this way and say you're cutting the back, you're actually going to mess it up. It won't really, you know, give you what you actually want. All right, so now I have marked. Now this part I have marked here as allowance is what I'm going to cut out. The remaining, another part I will now need is this measurement. I will now take the measurement of what I have from here to here. I have 9 inches. This 9 inches plus 1/2 an inch sewing is what allowance, is what I'm going to cut out again to join back for the other side of this outfit. please just follow me as I am going so that it is not confusing. So I'm going to start cutting. I'll mark these lines. The chalk I'm using, heat can take it off, so maybe I want to draw the whole line so that we can understand, you know, where we are heading. So I'm going to mark all the, from here to here we have 7 inches. So I'm going to mark my 7 inches line all through. And please don't forget, you're also going to take the length of whatever outfit you're making. In my case, I'm using 36 inches. So I have 36 plus 1 inch of sewing allowance. I have 37. So that's what I'm marking out, so I will know where I'm cutting out from. So I have 37, and I'm going to just extend it. That's where the kaftan top is going to stop. Okay, so that's it. I've marked that. I'll cut it out. Then this 7 inches line, remember this is where your pleat, the first, so this is where my pleat is starting, and I also mark 10 inches from there. Okay, 10 inches. Okay, so where you're seeing the chalk mark now is actually where the whole of your pleat is going to fit into. Okay, so that's it. So I'm going to be having my pleat at this point. So if I divide this into 2, I have 5. So all this I'm marking is just, I'm dividing my 2 pleats, as in my pleat, into 2. Okay. Okay. So can you now see that this is where I'm going to have my pleat? So you know, we're going to pleat to this, and then we are also going to pleat this way as well. Okay. So that's it for that side. So now like I had said, this is where the other part is going to end here for this side, and we're going to add half an inch to it. So that's just basically, so whatever we have here, 7 inches, when I open it, I'm going to be marking from this center line. I'm going to have 7.5 inches on the other side. So for that part, I'm taking it out, so we're going to be joining it back together. So all what I'm doing is mark this same line. I'm going to also trace it to the other side. All right. So I can now open it up, and I'm going to mark this line. I just want to make sure that I also have 7 inches at that point. Okay. Plus half, so I'm adding half an inch. That's for sewing allowance. And here also I'll add half an inch for sewing allowance. Okay. So same thing. So here now, I will turn it into a straight line. So this is where I am cutting the other part out, not the whole thing. So now I have marked to this point. Please let me explain again. Where we marked to, where we are starting our 10 inches mark from, it is where I am stopping this plus half an inch sewing allowance, because I'm trying to take out the 10 inches we are using a different fabric to create. So I'll cut. Okay. So now that I have cut, I've separated it. We are now going to fix this green fabric. We are going to cut it out as 10 inches. Then we are now still going to replace the end part from the last line I drew, you know, plus half of an inch. So this line now, I'll now add from here, I'm going to mark another half of an inch. That's going to be our joining allowance again, where we are going to join back the Ankara fabric to the black fabric, right? So I've added. Now that I've added the half, I'm going to now try and position the last chalk mark, this last chalk mark. I'm going to align it to go with the half of an inch I just added. All right, I'll align it on this part as well, and I'm going to cut out the remaining part. So I've succeeded in taking out the 10 inches I added in the middle, you know, and I've not wasted my fabric. Okay, so this is so that you're not having a boring outfit. I'm just bringing this on that. So this part, I don't know if it will be enough for my one leg trouser, but I hope so. If it's just for the front, I'll use it just to achieve, so that you're not just making a boring double pleated kaftan all the time. Okay, so with this I can mark. Okay, with that, so it's already known that that's my back side. So the next thing I need to cut is the remaining 10 inches. So I'll now pick up my Ankara and I'll fold it just the same way we did, but a little part of it, and I'll show you. So I'm actually just cutting out what I'm going to use. Okay, remember we took out 10 inches, so I've added plus 1 inch to take care of our joining allowance. So I'm going to cut it out and then I'll show you. It's already looking very lovely. So I've been able to cut it out, so let me mark so I know the back. Okay, so in this case also I would divide it. So it's always great to mark it so that when you're folding over your pleat, it's easy for you to work. So, and since my chalk is heat erasable, it just works perfectly fine. So I'll now put it together and show you what that's meant to look like. All right, so now this is going to be here, so I'll just match it on it. All right, so and then the other part, just to show you that what we have is actually the very same thing before we cut the final neckline. Okay, and then we have this. So this is how it's going to be, and then you have this. So this other side is just normal, okay, but this side has a touch. Have you seen? So you've been able to create something. So it's not every time you're just doing the same pleated thing. I'm sure you'll try it out. Please try it out and share with me, and if you have any issues, let me know. Okay, so this is what we're going to, I bet you when I'm done making this, you will love it. Okay, so this is what we're going to have, and before we complete it, let's finish up our neckline. Okay, So like I had said, this is like the danshiki. Okay, so I've not yet my sleeve. For your sleeve, please, before I forget that, you can now find how your sleeve it's going to be. Normally I notch it so I don't, so whatever I want to take as my sleeve, so let's say from here I want to start my sleeve. Most when I'm making for the male wear, I do 9.5, but when I'm making for myself, I like that place being a bit free, so I do about 10.5 opening. At times I even do 11. I prefer it to be free. Okay, so that is where I'm going to start. That's where my stitching, my closing on the side is going to start. So when I'm closing, I will start from here and close it, and here is going to be my sleeve opening where I'm going to be wearing in my outfit. Okay, so most times I just try to also make a notch so that I know my middle center. Okay, so now let's conclude on our neckline. So now please watch carefully. I'm going to open this up. So watch carefully. Remember we made a notch here. You may not really see that well, but I did a middle notch here. I've done a notch there. So I'm going to now open this way. I'm opening it, I'm folding it this way. Okay, so I'm now folding it like, see, this way. So I arrange it and make sure that that notch I did at the neckline stays at the middle. Everything stays straight to the back, because now I want to try and cut out the back neckline. All right, so the notch I made is now meant to help me remember that now, because we have a folded part, I had ironed it out, so I know where this is it. Okay, have you seen that line? So you just have to make sure this aligns properly, and then you create your back neckline. So like I said, please try to make sure that you align it properly. Sorry, I had a tooth surgery, so I may be sounding a bit funny. I just had to get up and still do this, though I'm healing properly, but it's just been a bit painful and crazy. So I just talk in a very funny way because my stitches are not yet out, but next week that should be done. All right, so I've arranged that, and now for the back I'm going to be taking out about 1.5 inches. Okay, I'm coming here 1.5 inches. I like it that way. You can take 1.5 just works for me. And then from the same place you had curved, just place your curve and follow suit. Okay, so I just like the curve to follow like that. See how that looks? So I've been able to get my back and I've been able to get my front. Like I said, for the front you can open it up if you want, or just put the scissors and stop where you want it to stop. And don't forget, guys, you need to cut a facing for this as well. Okay, so if you don't want to you can as well add whatever you want to use for your facing at once. Okay, so whatever you want to use for your facing, you can just fold it and place it under it. So I'm just aligning that. So I can now push this on the inside, so I can decide to cut everything together instead of cutting this and coming back to cut the facing. So I just align it. Okay, so now I'm okay with what I have. I can now cut it together. All right, so then slits your neckline open. Like I said, I just want, well, maybe let me just make it a bit open. same thing to your facing. So we are almost done. So I can also decide to use this opportunity to create my back lines before. Please don't forget to ask any question where you're not cleared. And even for those that send me private messages, I do well to answer. So please feel free to do that. So I'm done. I can now take it off. And this is my facing. So for the facing, like I said, depending on what you want, if you want to make it smaller, you do. I just love my things being straight. So I like to get this out straight. You can also create your facing to follow the shape of your outfit. But like I said, I'm going to be using hemming gun to just, I won't be stitching on it. Okay, so voila, and it's time to sew. All right, so here we're going to be having this as our facing to use and knitting our neckline and turn it. So like I said, if you want to follow the shape, that's what I meant. You can actually create this shape out if you want that. Okay, so that's basically it. Our facing is ready and we're done. And I'll be seeing you on the sewing table. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please don't forget to do so. Follow me so that you'll see how I'm going to put this beautiful double pleated what do we call it, a kaftan, you know, danshiki. I think for me, I think I'm going to now name this danshiki together. My name is Nita and I remain your physical and online instructor. And no matter what you do, please don't give up. Consistency is key. I say it. Nobody's perfect, nobody's wrong. We are all right in our own ways. Just find whatever way that works for you and get it done. But keep up at it. Keep doing it, and you'll discover a whole lot of ways, you know, to get to that point you're actually looking for. So I'll be seeing you in my next class, or I'll be seeing you on the sewing table.